Hey guys, welcome back. I just want to first say that if you watched my video yesterday, I'm really sorry about my rant that I went on at the very end about basically, why does God allow really bad things to happen? And it is a question that really I have not found peace with it yet. And so there's times where I feel really good with God and I have faith and trust in Him. But as a child growing up, I went through some really tough times. And there was a lot of times where I didn't grow up believing in God, but there was a part of me that was just like, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? Why? What? I didn't do anything to deserve any of this. And so when I see even more horrific things happening to people, especially children, um, it's hard for me. It's a sore spot for me. And I know that some bad things happen because it's a consequence of our sin. Um, but then there's, certain things, I won't go into details, but there's certain things that happen to people and children and innocent people that it's like just horrible, super evil things. And um I started to pray about it yesterday after I made yesterday's video, and I found myself realizing before I got cut off in my prayer session, I had to stop. Um, and I haven't gone back since because I'm kind of avoiding talking with God about this because it is a really sensitive subject for me. But I found myself starting to realize that I don't have peace with what I've gone through in my life. When I first found God, um, in my earlier videos, I think I even mentioned this, that I had peace with everything that I had to go through because I was like, oh, okay, it was all for a reason, and it is God's going to use all this so that I can help other people. And I was like, okay, that's great. And I had peace. And I realized last night that I don't truly have peace with it. And it is something that I need to address and talk to God about in prayer and ask Him for help and answers possibly, and to find peace and healing and understanding. Because right now I clearly don't. And it is something that keeps coming up for me. Um, And especially right now, too, because I've had a really rough couple of days. Like, I know I mentioned recently that my husband was laid off from his job, but then he had turned around and a couple days later got a job. Well, he started his first day. He did orientation the other day, this past week, and then he started his first shift last night. And he comes home in the middle of the night, in the morning, about 5 hours into a shift, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's a long story, but they like messed everything up and basically just wasted 2 weeks of our time. So now he's looking for another job. And it's just like, it's frustrating. And then to have how I'm feeling about God right now and why does He allow certain things, bad things to happen? It's just like, and then we're reading about Job and how he's feeling so tortured and miserable because of what God's allowing him to go through, what He allowed Satan to do to him, and, to make him physically sick because he gave him like boils or sores or something. And then he's torturing him mentally. And Job's over here just like miserable and misery, and basically it's like, I just want to die, and like, why was I even born, and just on and on. And it's just, I relate to that because when I was a child, I can't tell you how many times I cried myself to sleep, wondering why. And so then to now to be older and we have the lovely internet, you read about these horrific things happening in other towns or states or countries about, just horrific things happening to all kinds of people, including children. And you just think, how does such evil exist? How? I don't understand. And I had to face my own kind of evil that I experienced with other evil and other people growing up. But, I compared to some of the things that I've seen and read and heard about and have seen, the evil I faced was nothing compared to what others have had to face. And so, reading this book right now with Job, it's just like bringing all of this up. And then I'm also on top of that going through my own personal, stuff with, my husband's having trouble finding a job and again, and he's so close to finishing school, and then it's like this bomb just went off in our life and he's had to put school on hold, and it's just like he was almost done. He only had 2 more months left, and it's just like, what is going on? Like last night, I just kept thinking, like in the middle of the morning, like at 4 a.m., after my husband told me all of this, I just was laying in bed thinking, what are you doing, God? What are you doing? What's happening? What's going on? What are you doing right now? And it's weird though, too, because at the same time, feeling all these conflicted feelings and emotions and troubles in all these different areas, I also feel like I have trust and faith in God and that He's going to take care of us. It's confusing. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster of just emotions and feelings right now. And it's like, it's making my head spin. And I can't. It's like, it's so much. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And I saw this video, this morning when I was watching videos trying to go back to sleep after my husband told me all of this. It's like 5 a.m. at this point. And I'm just watching YouTube shorts, and I saw one about a chapter and verse. I don't even know what it was. But it was basically like saying to keep your eyes on God through the storm, through the chaos, and to not worry. Do not fear, and it's like part of me feels that way. Part of me is like calm and like, he's like, okay, everything's going to be fine. God's going to take care of us. Everything's going to be okay. And then there's another part of me that is like, has this like tension in my shoulder, has butterflies in my stomach because I'm worried. And I don't know what's going on right now. And it just feels like everything's just blowing up all of a sudden the past couple of days. And it's just like frustrating. And then to also now be currently reading Job, and then it's bringing up all these feelings about like, why, God? Why do you allow certain things to happen? Why do you allow certain bad things to happen? Why do you protect certain people and then don't others? And, just all these questions. And it's like, and I can't even bring myself to go back into prayer after I got cut off last night because really deep, vulnerable pain started to come up. And I was glad that I got cut off of my prayer because I was like, I kind of almost didn't want to like deal with it. So now I'm avoiding. Now I'm avoiding God and praying because I don't want to deal with it. it hurts. It's painful. It's painful to sit here and now believe in God wholeheartedly, 100,000%. I believe in God. To then now have to sit here and pray to God and have that conversation with Him and just be like, why did I have to go through all the pain that I went through and all the things I went through? And why are there others who are going through way worse than me and have gone through way worse than me? Why? It's difficult and it's painful and it hurts. And I can see why there's a lot of people who can't get past that question to get to God, to get to the good stuff, to get to the light, the love, the faith, the trust, the peace. I can see it. I can understand it completely. I really can. And it brings me back to this video I watched a few months ago, and it was an older gentleman, and there was a street preacher talking about God and stuff, and the older gentleman walked up to him and was just like, why would God allow millions of Jews to be murdered? And he was mad. And then he just walked off and didn't even wait for the street preacher to answer. And I know that a lot of bad things that happen are a consequence of us sinning, of us humans sinning, and it's the consequences. And I know sometimes the consequences, unfortunately, affect innocent people. But then there's things that happen that, children, prime example, little children. We all know that there's horrific, horrible things out there, whether we want to believe it or not, or see it or not. There's horrific things that happen to children out there. And it's like, why? And I know that God, even as I'm talking right now, I have this like weird feeling of like peace still in my heart, because I know that God's going to help me find peace and answers and calm with these answers that I'm seeking. I just feel it. I know it. I feel it in my core that God is going to guide me to the answers. He is going to heal my pain, and He is going to help me find peace with these questions that plague me. And I'm going to share with you guys every step of the way, because I don't think that there's enough Christians or people who believe in God that go into the nitty-gritty of what it's really like to have a relationship with God, of what it's really like to build a relationship with God, what it's really like to live a lifestyle of believing and following in God. And I was a victim of the, pipe dream that everything was going to be great once I brought God into my life and He was just going to fix everything. And that hasn't been my experience. My experience has been up and down. And would I go back though? No, because although it has been up and down and it has been hard, bringing God into my life has been the best thing I've ever done. And I am making progress in my life. I am healthier. I've worked out 2 days in a row now, and I know 2 days, but for me, that's huge. The fact that I even did it, and the fact that I did it 2 days in a row, and I've been changing my diet. I've backslid a little bit recently, but overall, I'm doing much better. I'm happier. I'm stable. My anxiety is pretty non-existent for the most part. I mean, overall, my life has improved so much in the 7 months since I brought God into my life, even with the up and down of my experience of bringing God into my life. So it's worth it, but I do think that there needs to be a little bit more reality and realistic, telling of what it's really like, instead of being sold this like, oh, well, I brought God into my life and Jesus, and he healed me of everything. You see those comments online or on YouTube or whatever, and under a video, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But that's not it. There's work that goes into that. There's work that goes into that, like, but not a lot of people talk about that. And I just think that, and I'm not the type of person that I'm going to talk about the hard things. I'm going to seek the hard answers. So if you want to find these answers with me, and you want to have a real relationship with God, and you want to really get down to the nitty-gritty with me, then you're in the right place, because I'm looking to answer and get answers in peace with these really difficult, hard questions that I know bother other people too, that plague other people too, that is a huge obstacle and wall between them and God. And I'm going to tear these walls down. And I'm sorry if it upsets you, or if I'm ruffling any feathers with anyone, but I'm not here to sell you a pipe dream. I'm here to share my real experience with real life, and really what it's been like bringing God into my life. And I'm not saying that your journey is going to be the same as mine, but I'm sure at some point in my videos of reading the Bible, you will probably resonate with what I'm going through, or what I'm saying, or what's happening, or what I'm thinking or feeling. So that is why I'm making these videos. God guided me to make these videos, to share my real experience, to possibly help someone. And so I'm going to keep making these videos, whether people like it or not. And I'm going to keep asking the hard questions, and I'm going to keep being brutally honest with my journey. And I hope that at the end of reading the Bible, I hope that on day 365 of reading the Bible, I hope that I can inspire others to take this journey, because I'm not even halfway through yet, and it's already been the best decision I've ever made for my life. And even though I'm kind of upset with God right now, and I'm feeling conflicted, and I'm feeling kind of upset, and I'm in pain, I still believe deep in my heart that this is the right path, that God is the right path. And I do have faith and trust in Him. And I'm going to work through these questions and in this pain that I'm feeling. And although I'm not ready right this second to pray again and reach out to God and ask Him about these tough questions I'm feeling and this pain I'm feeling, I will, and I will do it soon. I will do it tonight or tomorrow. I know it. I will make myself do it, but because I need to push through. But, until then, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep reading the Bible, and I'm going to keep on this path, because I know that this is the right path. I feel it. And I hope that you continue to join me, or if this is the first time watching my videos, I hope that you give God and the Bible a chance, because it will change your life for the better. And it may be hard some days, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. Guys, I just want to give, I don't know why, but like there's someone right now where I just like, I feel like I want to hug you through the phone. I don't know why. But if there is someone watching right now, whether now or in the future, I'm giving you a big, big hug from God. Okay, guys, so let's get into today's chapters and see what's going on with Mr. Job.
Though evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, though he spares it and does not forsake it, but still keeps it in his mouth, yet his food in his stomach turns sour. It becomes cobra venom within him. He swallows down riches and vomits them up again. God casts them out of his belly. He will suck the poison of cobras. The viper's tongue will slay him. He will not see the streams, the rivers flowing with honey and cream. He will restore that for which he labored, and will not swallow it down. From the proceeds of business, he will get no enjoyment, for he has oppressed and forsaken the poor. He has violently seized a house which he did not build. Because he knows no quietness in his heart, he will not save anything he desires. Nothing is left for him to eat. Therefore his well-being will not last. In his self-sufficiency, he will be in distress. Every hand of misery will come against him. When he is about to fill his stomach, God will cast on him the fury of his wrath, and will rain it on him while he is eating. He will flee from the iron weapon. A bronze bow will pierce him through. It is drawn and comes out of the body. Yes, the glittering point comes out of his gall. Terrors come upon him. Total darkness is reserved for his treasures. An unfanned fire will consume him. It shall go ill with him who is left in his tent. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The increase of his house will depart, and his goods will flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion from God for a wicked man, the heritage appointed to him by God. Then Job answered and said, Listen carefully to my speech, and let this be your consolation. Bear with me that I may speak, and after I have spoken, keep mocking. As for me, is my complaint against man? And if it were, why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be astonished. Put your hand over your mouth. Even when I remember, I am terrified, and trembling takes hold of my flesh. Why do the wicked live and become old? Yes, become mighty in power. Their descendants are established with them in their sight, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull breeds without failure, their cow calves without miscarriage. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and harp, and rejoice to the sound of the flute. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Yet they say to God, Depart from us, for we do not desire the knowledge of your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we have if we pray to him? Indeed, their prosperity is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? How often does their destruction come upon them? The sorrows God distributes in his anger? They are like straw before the wind, and like chaff that a storm carries away. They say, God lays up one's iniquity for his children. Let him recompense him, that he may know it. Let his eyes see his destruction, and let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what does he care about his household after him, when the number of his months is cut in half? Can anyone teach God knowledge, since he judges those on high? One dies in his full strength, being wholly at ease and secure. His pails are full of milk, and the marrow of his bones is moist. Another man dies in the bitterness of his soul, never having eaten with pleasure. They lie down alike in the dust, and worms cover them. Look, I know your thoughts and the schemes with which you would wrong me. For you say, where is the house of the prince? And where is the tent, the dwelling place of the wicked? Have you not asked those who travel the road? And do you not know their signs? For the wicked are reserved for the day of doom. They shall be brought out on the day of wrath. Who condemns his way to his face? And who repays him for what he has done? Yet he shall be brought to the grave, and a vigil kept over the tomb. The clods of the valley shall be sweet to him. Everyone shall follow him, as countless have gone before him. How then can you comfort me with empty words, since falsehood remains in your answers? Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, Can a man be profitable to God, though he who is wise may be profitable to himself? Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that you are righteous? Or is it gain to him that you make your ways blameless? Is it because of your fear of him that he corrects you and enters into judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great and your iniquity without end? For you have taken pledges from your brother for no reason, and stripped the naked of their clothing. You have not given the weary water to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. But the mighty man possessed the land, and the honorable man dwelt in it. You have sent widows away empty, and the strength of the fatherless was crushed. Therefore snares are all around you, and sudden fear troubles you, or darkness so that you cannot see, and an abundance of water covers you. Is not God in the height of heaven, and see the highest stars, how lofty they are? And you say, what does God know? Can he judge through the deep darkness? Thick clouds cover him, so that he cannot see, and he walks above the circle of heaven. Will you keep to the old way which wicked men have trod, who were cut down before their time, whose foundations were swept away by a flood? They said to God, Depart from us. What can the Almighty do to them? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad, and the innocent laugh at them. Surely our adversaries are cut down, and the fire consumes their remnant. Now acquaint yourself with him, and be at peace. Thereby good will come to you. Receive, please, instruction from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. You will remove iniquity far from your tents. Then you will lay your gold in the dust, and the gold of Ophir among the stones of the brooks. Yes, the Almighty will be your gold and your precious silver. For then you will have your delight in the Almighty, and lift up your face to God. You will make your prayer to him. He will hear you, and you will pay your vows. You will also declare a thing, and it will be established for you. So light will shine on your ways when they cast you down and you say, exaltation will come. Then he will save the humble person. He will even deliver one who is not innocent. Yes, he will be delivered by the purity of your hands. Then Job answered and said, Even today my complaint is bitter. My hand is listless because of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come to his seat. I would present my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me in his great power? No, but he would take note of me. There the upright could reason with him, and I would be delivered forever from my judge. Look, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. When he works on the left hand, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right hand, I cannot see him, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is unique, and who can make him change? And whatever his soul desires, that he does. For he performs what is appointed for me, and many such things are with him. Therefore, I am terrified at his presence. When I consider this, I am afraid of him. For God made my heart weak, and the Almighty terrifies me, because I was not cut off from the presence of darkness, and he did not hide deep darkness from my face. Since times are not hidden from the Almighty, why do those who know him see not his days? Some remove landmarks. They seize flocks violently and feed on them. They drive away the donkey of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox as a pledge. They push the needy off the road. All the poor of the land are forced to hide. Indeed, like wild donkeys in the desert, they go out to their work, searching for food. The wilderness yields food for them and for their children. They gather their fodder in the field and glean in the vineyard of the wicked. They spend the night naked, without clothing, and have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains, and huddle around the rock for want of shelter. Some snatch the fatherless from the breast, and take a pledge from the poor. They cause the poor to go naked, without clothing, and they take away the sheaves from the hungry. They press out oil within their walls, and tread wine presses, yet suffer thirst. The dying groan in the city, and the souls of the wounded cry out, yet God does not charge them with wrong.
I really related with Job at the beginning when he was talking about basically how the evil and wicked can go their whole lives, live long lives, prosper, have children, have no issues. And it's why? It's another question to add to my list to talk to God with about. I don't know, guys. I don't have all the answers. And I think that the best I can do is just keep sharing my journey. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep asking God for help and guidance and understanding. And I will keep sharing my journey because that's all I can do. And I know in my heart that God's going to keep revealing things to me and helping me find peace. And I hope that you can find peace along with me. So don't give up, guys. I'm not giving up. You don't give up. All right, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.